Hi guys, Barry Casson here again with another video. Today's video is called The Money Saving Event That Saved My Life. Now this is a really interesting story. I think you'll get a lot out of it. If you're dealing with finances, just another idea to help you with finances. Not that I'm a financial guy, I'm not. But this is just a story that happened with me, and it was one of the best things ever came along to help me with finances. Okay, so let's get into the story a bit. Back in around 93, I think it was, I started up Vancouver's first motion picture training school. That was called the Victoria Motion Picture School, when we trained a lot of students over the years. Now, at that time, as some of you know, when you start up a business, you're always scrambling for money to get this going, to get that going, and it's tough, right? And at that particular time, I ran up a bill on my credit card that was $1,200. Not a lot of money by today's standard, but $1,200, okay? And I was having trouble making those payments at that time. So one day I get a phone call from what I call the knee breakers, you know, the guys who collect, the collection agencies, if you like. So the guy's on the phone with me, and he's not a very nice man at all. He's just really, you know, giving it to me, right? And I kind of got a little upset, and I start to throw it back his way, right? You know, so now we're really tussling back and forth. And I remember the words that finished the conversation. The last thing this guy said to me was this: "I'll get you." And then the phone went dead. And I thought, what was that, right? So anyway, next day I go into a bank. I won't mention which bank, but I go into a bank and I'm doing a little business. They got my credit card. And the teller comes back to me. She says, "I'm very sorry, Mr. Casson, I can't give you your credit card back." And I'm going, "Oh, really? Why not?" And she says, "Because you are R9. Now, I'd never heard this word or this term in my life. And I thought, what does that mean? I'm R9. Well, what it really meant was that everybody's computer says that I didn't pay my $1,200 bill. Basically, they're saying that I'm a bad risk, you know. And I thought, this is crazy. So I said to the woman, "Well, how long does this take before we get it rectified?" And she says, "About 6 years." I just about fell over. I said, 6 years? You mean I can't get credit for 6 years? Yeah, basically that's it. And I'm going, holy cow, this is a killer. So anyway, what do you do, right? So I suffered through this along with my business partner. We did get the school going and everything was moving along, but we were tight, you know, trying to do things. Anyway, 4 years, now jump ahead to 4 years later. And one day I'm thinking, I got to get that card back. It's been 4 years. It's got to be something. I don't want to wait another 2 years. So I walked into this bank and I had $500 in my back pocket. And I walked up to this woman, not a teller, but one of the other people in the offices. And I said, "Look, I know I've done some bad, you know, basically had some bad luck. But I want to tell you, it's been 4 years. I got $500 right here in my wallet. Will you give me my credit card back with a $500 limit?" And she said, "No, I can't." And my head fell and I went, well, I guess that's it. And I'm halfway out the door and she says, "Wait a minute." And I turned around. She said, "I'll tell you what I'll do." She said, "If you make it 1,000, I'll see what I can do." So I left there. I came back a week later with $1,000. And I got my card back with a $1,000 limit. Right? Now remember, this is about 30 years ago. And the punchline to this story is that I have kept it at $1,000 for 30 years, not because the bank said that's where it is, but because I said that's where I want to keep it, right? You see the difference here? And now I've got great credit. I get stuff all the time from the banks. They're always saying, "Oh, we can give you another 5,000, another 10,000, you know, all that kind of," because they're always trying to move everything up, right? This is what these credit card companies do. Now, I'm not saying credit card companies are bad. I know you can get air miles through credit cards, and if you pay it off every month, you're fine. But you've still got that thing looming where you have to pay it off. I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry, you know, what's a payment? You know, I run a few $100 here, a few $100 there, and pay it off every month. Yeah, but it's not thousands of dollars, right? You know, the problem is we live in a world where everyone's trying to tell you, you can have it now. There's no interest. There's nothing. You have 2 years, make your first payment in 2 years. So let's say you're out there and you buy that new living room suite or whatever it is, right? Chesterfield and stuff, and everything's really nice. But now it's 2 years later, and it's got maybe the odd cigarette burn hit it, or maybe some guys spilled pizza all over it, you know, or it's just not looking the way it was when it was new. It's kind of ragged. and now you get a bill? Are you kidding me? That is dumb. That doesn't make any sense at all. Why would you want, but that's what happens. You get hooked into that situation. Now, I remember my parents. I know this is a totally different world, but there's some good smarts in this. When they went out shopping, I remember hearing them. They look at something and they'd say, gee, that would be nice. Let's save up and buy it, right? Let's save up and buy it. And my parents were not overly wealthy or anything. My dad immigrated from England with $90 in his back pocket. 5 years later, he built a brand new house on a brand new lot. Now, how did he do that? Did he invest? No, he just knew how to handle his money, right? And that's a great way to go. But you can't do that these days because everybody's pushing at you, right? Now, I know air miles, like I say, they can get good with air miles, and if you pay it off every month, great. But the problem is you're still amassing that debt. So my system, I think, is what I'm doing. I'm very happy with it. Somebody comes along and says, you got scammers. The phone rings. Oh, well, somebody just charged $1,500. And no, they didn't, because it doesn't go over $1,000. And the only time I ever had a problem was one day I looked at my statement, and the statement said $1,130. And I went, but this can't be. There's a $1,000 limit, and I impose that. How can it be $1,130? So I phone up the bank. I get this guy on the phone, and he's making all these excuses. He's going, well, Mr. Casson, we just thought that if you were out for dinner and you had your friends and you spend a little bit much, we'd cover it. And I'm going, wait a minute. You don't make that decision. I make that decision. That's my money. I'll make the decision on how much, and I gave him help for it, right? And it's stayed there ever since at $1,000. So it's just a little story. I hope that story's sort of been, I know it's hard in this day and age to do that kind of thing, but it's worth it if you can do it. It's worth it, okay? Now, I just want to mention Christmas is coming, right? We know. If you go to my website, there's a couple of really good books on there. You have kids or friends that are interested in the film industry. This book's got a lot of really good stuff in it, really good. Reviewed by the U.S. Review of Books, said it's a great book, basically. And my latest book, which is How to Become Who You're Meant to Be, really good story for people trying to find a way in life, because I've done so many things between, touring the world as a drummer and making over 60 films and writing books and giving talks and all that kind of stuff. And by the way, if you know anybody who's looking for somebody to give a talk on life or on film industry or whatever, just tell them to call me. It's a free talk. It doesn't cost anything. I'm just looking forward to getting out there and sharing what I've learned along the way in this journey of life, right? So anyway, that's it. That's all I got to say today. I thank you for watching, and I hope it's been maybe a few helpful hints in there, and I'll look for you next time. Thank you so much.